world. Welcome to the PPC Radio Show. We are going to go live on the radio. Let me know when that is so I can really get. We're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the PPC Radio Show. Are we doing our jingle today?
Yep, I'm on that too.
All right. Let's die. So we can grow together. Conversation with that healing. I don't know what they're missing. Show it your best friend. Tell them come hear this. Yeah. Don't you tell us your blessing. Powerful lesson. True confessions. Yeah. Yeah. A powerful tool for you. BBC. Yeah. A powerful tool for you and me. BBC. Yeah. A powerful tool. You and BBC, yeah, a powerful tool for you and
Yeah.
All right. Love that song. Kellen Parham is our guest today with Shelly Shell Williams, myself, Cinda Williams. Hi, everybody out in the world. DJ Kid Disco is still not with us. He's still taking care of beeswax. Hopefully we'll get him back soon. Miss him. So Kellen, we start off the show with a segment I will leave to Shelly Shell.
All right. It is time. We're going to wake ourselves up. We're going to get energized because what? You're going to give us a true confession. Ooh, I saw your eyes like, what? It is true confession time. So whatever you tell us, we have to follow suit and give our true confession. So you can make it deep, you can make it funny, you can make it cheesy, whatever it is, that true confession. But I saw your eyes. Ooh, are you ready? Are you ready?
I think so. I'm not sure. True confession. Well, it's nothing too deep, but my favorite late night snack I get like these tortilla chips that they have. It's H-E-B is the grocery store here. It's like the Walmart of Texas. But they have these tortilla chips, the salted ones, sea salted ones. And I really loved, I didn't have salsa one day. So I was like, I went to the pantry to see what I could use as a condiment. And so all I had was Texas Pete hot sauce. So that was like the first time I actually had Texas Pete hot sauce on tortilla chips. And I've been addicted ever since. It's like my go-to snack in the middle of the night. Like the late night cravings.
Late night cravings.
All right. Well, I know I am no stranger to strange combinations of food. Actually, this is the most popular confession we get, I think.
Food, I know, right?
Yeah, but I'm a hot sauce fanatic. I'm one of the, that I like that on everything, girl. That would be me. I literally I had to stop. It was getting embarrassing because people were making fun of me. I used to carry my bottle of hot sauce everywhere. Yeah, I kept a bottle of hot sauce because if I was eating out, I wanted it available at all times. And when I was going to movie theater, I wanted to put it on my popcorn. I put hot sauce on everything, but I love it on chips, on some potato chips, on some taco chips, on anything like that. I like hot sauce. Last night we had rice and scrambled eggs and spinach, hot sauce. So
what's your favorite brand?
Are
you like a stickler for the brand?
Well, I do love Frank's. I'm a Frank's or Durkee. It has a couple of different names, but my friends out of Louisiana make this stuff called cha-cha. And it's freshly made hot sauce with real peppers, and it is delicious. And they make all different kinds. We've been trying to get them to consider packaging and selling it because it is so good. It is so fresh, and there've been some conversation, but it's amazing. So that's not a brand, but I think that's my favorite. But next to that, it's Frank's.
Nice.
Mhm.
Wow. So I don't have any late night snacks. We were just talking about how I was sitting here eating the cereal out the box, just sticking my hand in the box. It's only me. I don't have to share with anybody, so it's not nasty because it's only me. So I stuck my hand in the box and I ate it. So I do like the cereal, but as far as hot sauce, I do put hot sauce on my scrambled eggs. But now I'm hungry, so thanks for that one. Like I'm hungrier than I was when I started, so now I need some food. I don't have any weird late night cravings.
Well, I don't eat at night. No, it ain't no late night craving for me. No.
No, I didn't used to, but lately, I mean, sometimes because I don't eat after 7. So lately,
Mhm.
sometimes I get a little hungry and I stick my hand in that box of cereal. And that became my thing. I just, or last night, as I was up till 5 a.m., I was in that box of cereal, just eating the cereal.
Mhm. Hey, LJ. Hey, Yvonne. Hi, James. I think there might have been one other person. It's so nice to see you guys with us. Yes, cha-cha is a Southern thing. Yes, I like red hot sauce. That's right, red hot, red hot. Does it keep you lean? I know cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is very helpful for metabolism. It keeps your metabolism up. So a lot of people, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to have a cup of hot water in the morning first thing. And I put some cayenne pepper in there, some turmeric in there, some honey. And also, I know this sounds weird and it's not the best combination for taste, but it's a great combination for metabolism. I add apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And I like the way it tastes. A lot of people don't, but
I don't like the way it tastes, but I know the benefits of it. But yeah, I do the same thing. Crazy, I haven't done it in a while, but it worked. Like the things that work, it works, but you ain't doing it. Why? Why do we do that? I mean, seriously, why do we do that? We know that works clearly, but we stop. And I think that's with a lot of things. Why is it? I don't understand. I'm mad at myself now. Why'd you do it?
Yeah, it's because you got to create the habit and you got to do it over a certain amount of time. And if you don't, then you forget, because it's not a habit yet. Hey, Paula. Vaughn said that he just ordered green tea and a lot of tea for the house. And yeah, I take these green tea fat burners unless I know that I'm not really busy that day, then I won't take it because it really gives you a lot of energy, and I can't make sleep harder than it already is. So
you said it's a green tea fat burner?
Yeah, green tea fat burners. So and it's got some caffeine in it, but that really takes your metabolism on a sky high. It keeps your metabolism up. It's really good to drink hot.
I like metabolism up, but I don't need caffeine. I mean, I can't sleep as it is. I need to take myself. I need to sleep.
Yeah,
I'm up 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
I'm the type of person I like to stay up late, just any night, and I don't be having anything to do. Even though I know I have to wake up early the next morning, I still just can't go to sleep. I just don't want to, I guess.
I feel like I want to, like I said, mine is, I just want to finish. Like I hate starting a project and then not finishing it because then the next day will come and I can't get to it. And then the project is never finished, which is, I've been writing the book since 2016 till I'm finished.
Yeah. LJ said he lost 86 pounds using Bragg's apple cider vinegar.
86 pounds.
86
Wow.
pounds. Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
it definitely works. And Bragg's is the best, in my opinion, also. I literally could drink it, like straight. I could drink it. I know that's terrible, but again, that's my weird taste buds. I drink it. James says, "Hey, James," said that he drinks the green tea. All right, enough about that. Let's move on. We can literally talk about that kind of stuff for half an hour. So Kellen, welcome to the show. You are a poet, you are a father, you're a Texan.
Yes.
Originally from ATL, and you are also a statistician, which I think I said that right. I get it mixed up. Yes, I say it incorrectly sometimes, and that bothers me. So, what a dichotomy! This part of your brain that's numbers, and then the part of your brain that's words. So, do you think that those two influence each other at all?
I think so, definitely. For my actual profession, it requires me to kind of think outside of the box a lot of times and to have some level of creativity because whenever you use like for data analysis, you have to kind of be able to tell a story with the data to the decision makers. You have to be able to be detail oriented and then be able to think a little further ahead and be able to provide context behind things. So it helps me with, like writing is also like, you have to be creative, think outside the box. And so those two pretty much work together. And I feel like that's me writing and being able to express my creativity helps me think even more whenever it comes to like my actual job itself. And even whenever it comes to like writing papers for work. Like my coworkers like, oh no, like I finally told my coworkers that I had a book published because I try to keep things like personal life and work life kind of separate. I don't really like people out of my business like that. But so my coworkers like, oh, no wonder why your papers is always, well written or something like that. Because you're a writer. I was like, yeah, I guess so. But, yeah, so they kind of go, they definitely work together.
That seems like that would add to your mystique. A statistician that can write.
I mean, but you don't want nobody in this business, but isn't the whole objective for people to buy your book? Just wonder, isn't the whole thing buy the book?
I mean, that for me, I mean, I guess, but my whole purpose of writing a book wasn't necessarily to share it. It was just like a personal achievement type thing. It was like, something for myself. But I do like, I don't know. I'm just kind of like I'm an introvert type person. So I'm I'm an only child and I was always like kind of guarded, so there's a lot of things I'll allow people to know. I didn't necessarily want everybody to know, certain things. So I always try to keep my personal life and my work life kind of separate. So even like I really didn't really like, make work friends. Like my work friends would be friends I talk to at work. But then when I get home, it was just like, not to say they didn't exist anymore, but it was just, I had.
It's funny. I do that same thing. I when I'm dealing with people on a like gig level or whatever, unless I'm being quote unquote Cinda Williams doesn't usually come into the conversation. You know what I mean? And Shelley's right. I mean, everybody I meet, I should be, hey, PPC, Pink Panda Confessions, go get it from him. But that's just, that's how Malik is. Malik is that way. Malik has his book no matter where he is. He is like, this is Malik Truth. This is my book. And he was walking around and he walked around with mine. You should check this book out. He's so cool that way. But he's an extrovert. It's funny. The last 3 weeks, I think we've had multiple introverts in a row. I think LJ, who is coming on and commenting today, who's coming on next week, is going to be our exception. LJ, am I wrong? Are you an extrovert, man? Because he's making comments, but he's coming on the show next week and I can't wait to have him on. But we've been having a lot of introverts, and it's like in some ways it's it's awesome. Obviously, it's who you are, but in other ways, it can work against you
Yeah.
because, you are, unless you just don't care. Like you say, you don't care if anybody buys your book or not, so that's cool. You just did it
I
for
mean,
yourself.
I've become more of an extrovert like lately, especially since I published the book. I've been going out into the city a lot more just on my own and meeting a whole lot of new people. And so, I mean, I've been branching out a lot more than I
Mhm.
normally would have. But it was just like with work, it was just, I was more so hesitant in sharing something so personal and private. It's like my book was almost, my writing is pretty much like me writing in a diary almost. That's kind of our way I've kind of view it. And so it's like here I am opening up to people that I work with, and now they know like my private thoughts, and it just was, I don't know, but I'm
But
okay
it's
with it
okay
now.
that the world can read your private
Yeah,
thoughts.
I'm
The
okay with,
strangers can read them.
it's okay with strangers. I don't have to interact with strangers on a regular basis.
Right.
When I'm in a work meeting, I don't necessarily, want people bringing up, things about writing or whatever. But it's okay. They're fine. They like a lot of my coworkers supported me and everything.
Hmm.
So it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny because I have a little gig right now, and I was talking to this guy, and we just met, and he was just started talking about his favorite movies and his favorite television shows and what my favorites were and what, you know what I mean? And it's like invariably, eventually, it's hard to skirt those kind of conversations with people because it's a part of our pop culture. It's a part of popular culture is television and movies and stuff like that and stuff I've done. And the thing I've been terrified of is someone recognizing me. I'm like, please, I just don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about. I go to the grocery store with my little pajama, not really my sweats and looking halfway, and people are always like, "Oh, Santa." So it's like I don't know.
Like, yeah, I'm out here chilling, trying to be all on the radar, but
Exactly, and so yeah, I understand it. It takes a lot of courage, I think, to open up like and write a book and put that stuff out there.
Yeah.
it does. And I think there's levels to this introvert type of thing.
Mhm.
Like, I think that you're saying that you don't want people to know things about you, but when I speak on platforms, I'm very transparent about everything. Like, I'll tell you pretty much everything, but I'm an introvert. But I will tell you, like, yeah, I get the story out because I'm trying to teach through whatever story it is. So I'll tell you stuff. I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking, feeling, all that kind of stuff. But I think we're just in different levels. It's different types of introverts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm. LJ said, some folks talk a lot, some don't talk enough, and then many don't want to be bothered.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
It is he said he talks more. I think he is extrovert, but he talks more online than he does offline. Yeah, I'm the same. That's me. Most of the time I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm not a telephone person.
Yeah.
I hate texting. I really do. I just do it when I have to do it.
Oh,
Oh, I can't stand it. But if I have to, like if I'm doing business, you got to communicate with people.
Mhm.
So I'll communicate with them for a while on text, and then I'll be like, okay, can we talk now, please? It'll just be 5 minutes of a conversation instead of 2 hours of me typing. And I'd rather do it in person and get it out than 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 tapping on my phone all the day long.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm gonna tap with my.
when you write about, do autobiographical work, some people take that information and use it against you, or may try. I've had that. And
What? What do you mean?
yeah, especially when you're talking about mistakes you've made or decisions that might not be popular or whatever. some people, have issues with that and have said things about that. And well, you wouldn't, well, of course you would be this way because, this happened and that happened, just based on the stuff they've read that you've said, or stuff that you've said taken out of context. You know what I'm saying? So it's, that's the chance. That's what you got to deal with when you're making anything you do public.
Right.
Especially.
I guess so. I guess I didn't think about it, but never thought about it like that. Well, guess what, y'all? Go ahead and write the book, because you go back and listen to some single on a Saturday nights. I tell it all. But you gonna talk about it. Talk about that there.
I don't know. I think there are a lot of, it just depends on, like, for instance, what's it, Kanye West right now? I mean, he has created so much conversation about himself. I mean, everybody's talking about Kanye's decisions and the things he's saying and all this kind of stuff. And everybody got something to say about it now. That's because he was publicly saying these things. He's opened the door to public either encouragement or public decry. He's going to get any one of those things when he makes his position that known.
Yeah.
And the more popularity you have and the more people know about you, the more trolls you get.
Yeah.
I have been realizing that. I think I'm pretty fortunate. I don't have that many people dogging me, but it happens. It definitely happens. LJ said, "Girl, Shelly, girl, I can talk. Wait, you'll see."
You can talk. I'm used to people that can talk. It's funny that when it comes to talking, right? And I'm not necessarily a talker, but I can talk. Like, I feel like I've been limiting myself because I really can talk. But I realized I had listened so many other people that they didn't give me the opportunity to talk. That's what the problem is. They're too busy talking.
And not listening.
And they say to me, "You don't talk." But it's like, I feel like you didn't give me the opportunity to jump in there. So then I naturally turn down and be like, when I talk to these particular people, I just shut up. So you think I can't talk, but then you give me the opportunity, I'm gonna keep going and going and going, but I'm gonna give you the opportunity to speak back. Say what you have to say. And let's make it reciprocal. Let's go back and forth and back and forth. Not just like, and when I grew up and my sky and the thing, and then when I came back down to the sky, and I'm like, but the sky kept coming, and then you're done. Then I'm done. Go ahead. I'm gonna just stay here. Yeah.
Some people talking and just start going off onto a tangent, and it's like, how did we end up here and you started over here? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
It's people out there. So, Mr. LJ. We're gonna listen to you. Since you can talk, we just gonna listen. We're gonna be like this.
He said, talking loud and saying nothing. Boo. Or no, I think he meant it a different way. Talking loud and saying nothing. Boo. I think that's yeah, that there are a lot of people that I've been in situations, so many, because I draw extroverts to me. I'm an introvert, so I draw extroverts, which works out great because they can do all the talking and I can just let them talk. This format is the most talking I do, except for to my partner or my daughter. Everybody else, I don't really do a lot of talking. I do more listening. But I've been in situations where I'm talking to somebody, or no, they're talking to me, right? Telling me this, telling me that, usually their problems, and I'm cool with that, whatever, vent. But don't let me start to say anything about what's going on with me. Then it's like complete silence, crickets. If I'm lucky, if they even let the conversation happen. And then when they start talking, it's about going back to whatever, illness they got or whatever he did to her or whatever.
Isn't that funny?
Some people just want to be heard.
Yeah, I have very
you said the same thing. You never heard?
No, I said some people just want to be heard. Like, they don't necessarily care about what you have going on with your own life.
None.
They just, they
Mm-mm.
just want, to talk and have people listen to
Mhm.
them and their problems or whatever they have going on.
Yeah, I
They're
got
just
to
not
the
mindful.
point where I had to stop. I had to stop answering every call because it got redundant. And I was like, this is my fault. This isn't theirs. I'm allowing this. So this is
Mhm.
what's going to happen because they need to talk to somebody. And that's cool. I'm
And you're
available
the
if I'm
listener,
available.
and we're listening. We're the people that sit there and listen, listen,
Hmm.
listen. Yeah, I ignore the call. I ignore calls all the time.
Yeah.
I'll sit
Yeah.
there with the phone like this. Look, matter of fact, meanwhile the phone is sitting here ringing. So I will sit there with the phone and just be looking at it like,
Mhm.
like I see you, but I'm not gonna sit that right here.
Yeah. It can be exhausting. I think certain kind of people draw energy vampires. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They just draw people that need to be heard all the time, or to complain all the time, or be upset all the time.
I
And a
can't
lot of
take
folks
it.
are feeling that way these days. People are, it's a rough time for a lot of folks, and it's cloudy and it's starting to become winter.
Yeah.
So you got to really deal with moods at that
And
time.
as an empath, and if you're an empath, you can really pick up on people's like empaths can really like that energy just really attacks you, and it's like, yo, I can't be a part of that energy. Like, oh, your energy is messing up my flow. Let's
Hmm.
not do that. Let's rewind, and you go your way, and I go my way. We're just not gonna do that.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And being empathic, you really got to learn how to uh, protect yourself. That's why I went back to school and got that hypnotherapy degree. Was
Oh
because
wow.
every movie I did, I'd end up being a set shrink and worn out. I mean, completely exhausted from the experience every time. And so I wanted to learn how to protect myself, and get more skills so that when people came to me, I wasn't talking out the side of my neck, as Luther
That was
says.
very nice of you to do that for them. Like
No,
you didn't
I
do
did that.
real.
I
You
did
didn't
it
do
for
real
me.
practical things.
No, I did that for me because I needed to learn how to protect myself.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And help them, but more about protecting myself because I didn't go start practicing. I practiced a little bit, but I wasn't trying to be a therapist. I was just trying to be prepared for the next time and the next movie that I had, folks, that needed to express themselves.
But wouldn't that be
Really.
easier than taking other jobs? Maybe being wouldn't hypno
Hypnotherapist.
yeah, wouldn't that be a good? Wouldn't have been a good side hustle type thing?
Yeah, I thought about it, but I left California, and the rules are different in every state.
Oh,
In most states, they don't even allow you to do hypnotherapy unless you are a licensed therapist.
Mm.
It's a separate thing. In California and some states, there can be hypnotherapists and there can be psychotherapists. I think it was the unions that stopped that from happening because they were losing work, in certain states, to hypnotherapists, and they didn't want to do that. So
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Huh.
So when I moved from California, I lost the ability to practice legally. I was licensed to practice there, but not anywhere else.
That makes
So
sense. That makes a lot of sense. I get it.
mm,
The
mm,
introverted people unite. Let's go.
mm. So Kellen, tell us about, we're not doing commercials without DJ Kadisco. So tell us
Okay.
about your how you started writing, how that became a part of your life.
Um, as we spoke last week, I was talking how like I used to be bored growing up, and I would just sit and try to write rap lyrics, and they were like terrible. Um, but then as when I got older, when I was in college and undergrad, I was actually walking to this girl's dorm, and it was these lines I kept reciting in my head over and over, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds really good." So I turned around and went back to my room, and I wrote it all out, and I finished it, and it actually was really good. And I was surprised that I could write something that made sense, and I liked it. and I shared it with other people on campus. I shared it with the girl, and I shared it with other people on campus, and they liked it as well. And so from there, it kind of inspired me to continue like writing poetry. And so I just kept writing, and I didn't really necessarily take it serious until, I started my personal struggles with school and then death in the family. And so writing kind of became like my therapy. So I was taking it a lot more serious, and I started meeting, like, poetry started introducing me to different people on campus. It was a group of people who were relatively new to the school. I think they transferred maybe from FAMU, a couple of guys, I believe, and they wanted to start an on-campus organization for poetry. And they was call it the Neocentric Souls Poetry Troupe. And so we all started that troupe, and we started doing poetry shows around campus, like at fashion shows, and we hosted our own poetry show off campus once. And we had writing sessions. We had a guy who made music. He was a guitarist, a musician. So it was real, like, it was real fun. It's real cool. And so it was like those type of experiences enhanced my writing a lot more and made me have a little more passion for it. And but that's kind of how the evolution of it. It started off just being bored and writing rap lyrics. And I believe when I was a child, when I was much younger, like elementary school, my mom said that I used to write a lot. Like, there's a lot of things I forgot. Like, my mom tell me stories and I forget them. But she said I would write a lot, and it just be like, to her, in her mind, it'd be like gibberish on the page. But in my mind, it was a real story. And so I would like, sure, I'd be like, here, mom, read this. That's what she tell me. She's like, here, mom, read this. And then she'll start saying, making up her own story based on what she thought, just making up something. But then I'll correct her. I'll be like, no, mom, this is what the story says, or something like that. So I guess I had a kind of a lean towards writing quite as a younger age, but it wasn't really anything that it was like on the forefront of my mind. It was just, I had a lot of time on my hands. If I wasn't in school, I was at home just needing to entertain myself. So that's kind of where I guess that's all started.
So
But I wish
the writing is poetry. It's mostly poetry, or?
Yes. What I write now is mostly it's all poetry. I attempted to write songs, but I'm terrible. I'm not really that great at writing like songs, like structure wise and all of that. But I do get a lot of inspiration from music. So when I write, I listen to a lot of music, and I study like the lyrics of some songs that resonate with me. I have like this whole playlist. I actually have a playlist that I created for myself while I was writing. And so when I published my book, I actually made the playlist public. So it's on YouTube Music, it's on Tidal, it's on Spotify, and Apple Music. I call it like the soundtrack for the book. So it's on there. It's a Lover's Truce is also the name of the playlist. But these were like songs that, like, the melodies that get stuck in my head, or the music, the instrumentals, and it just helped me lean more into certain thoughts. And so I just saved them. And so some of the poems that I've written, they may have some melody that flowed with whatever songs that was listened to at the time.
Nice. LJ asked, who are your favorite authors? His is Elin Harris. I love him too. I haven't read one in a while, but yeah. Who are your favorite authors?
Favorite authors? I've been reading so many books lately. Favorite authors? Well, I like Stephen King. Like, in younger days when I was reading, like, that novel was great. Like, it's really long, and I may have read it in high school, but that was probably one of the first books that I read cover to cover, and it was like over 1,000 pages. Another book that I enjoyed was, what I read in high school, was by Mark Mathabane. It was Coffee Boy, I believe it was called. But it was about his struggles growing up with apartheid in South Africa.
That was a good one.
That one was a good one. More recently, like poetry wise, I like it's the lady, I can't even pronounce the name. I think it's like Yersha, I believe, but she wrote a book called Bone. She's young. I think she's out of like UK, but her books are really good. Her poetry is really great. And And I've been trying to like read a lot of like local poets. It's a local guy. He was like a national poet slam winner out of Austin. He's based out of Austin. He had a book he just published. His name is like CK Speaks, but his book is really good. It's really phenomenal poetry. So I'm really into following like local poets.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an
Yeah.
independent bookstore here that promotes local authors. So it's great.
Yeah, when it comes to reading, I've always been like constant. It's just now lately that I've been getting back to hard copy because I was listening for a long time, and I started listening a lot because I could do it while I walked, I could do it while I'm cleaning or cooking or whatever. But it's coming back from what I understand. I think COVID kind of like rejuvenated people buying and reading again. Some hard copies. So I know for me, it's hard for me to write and then read at the same time. It's hard. I have to be in a reading phase where I'm just basically studying, researching, listening, other people's stuff. And then if I'm working on my stuff, that's where my mind is 100%. I can't do the same. Is that?
For me, like reading wasn't always something that I enjoyed growing up. So I didn't really read that often, but I've been reading a lot more lately. But when I have been having like a writer's block, so I've been doing a lot more reading than I normally been doing. But I don't think when I was writing, I wasn't really reading that much either. So yeah, I probably just started reading a lot of books from the past, cause I published in March. So from March to now, I've probably read quite a few books, a lot of poetry books mostly, because they're not really that long. I read a few novels, but yeah, I think I write here and there. Like I wrote something last night, but it was like in the middle of the night. Like I like to read. I like to write. I feel like my mind is more awake like late at night. So I'm like a night owl person. So like I'll be up maybe like 12 in the morning, like up writing, and then I'll read when I have time. So I have time, like my daughter's at gymnastics for 3 hours or something like that. I have to wait. So that's like the perfect time for me to read some books. So that's what I've been doing like the past couple of days. But yeah, I don't really have.
LJ said you have to be in a mood to do either one,
Yeah, I definitely had to be in a mood. I had to be in a mood to read or write. I don't try to force myself to do anything because I don't want it to feel like a job, or I don't want to, put myself under unnecessary pressure. But yeah, just to try to like kill time, something I just, I read. Depends how I feel, and I realize I can read and listen to music.
I can't imagine just having to kill time, man. I feel like time ain't there for me to kill time. What do you mean? How do you have to kill time? Man, you must got a lot of 24 hours in your day.
We don't. It's just gymnastics. I have 2 daughters, and we're pretty much at the gymnastics gym Monday through Friday. Like me and my wife and I, we'll take turns. So like Monday and Tuesdays are generally my day to go to gymnastics. And so you're sitting there in the gym for 3 hours, and it's long and it's kind of boring, and it's, so that's like, for me, that's like the perfect time where I could just do something. I could listen to music, or I could just read a book. So I found like I could do both. I could actually have music playing, and I'll be reading at the same time, which I never realized I could do.
Yeah, I like to study music, the lo-fi study music.
Your mic is muted.
Right have you heard that?
I didn't hear you. You can repeat.
I'm sorry, I was gonna call.
I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I said have you ever heard of Lo-Fi Girl? The Lo-Fi Girl channel on YouTube. It's for music for studying or reading.
Oh, wow.
It's like a soundtrack. And I use it. Especially when I'm working on a script, depending on the script that I'm writing. It's like these lo-fi beats, instrumentals, and it really feeds me when I'm writing. I feel like it puts me in a mood. And so I listen to that. Sometimes it depends on what I'm listening. I mean, what I'm writing will determine what I listen to.
Yeah.
You can write and listen to music at the same time. I can't do the same. I mean,
It's like having a soundtrack or a score, you know. It's very specific music. I can't have lyrics, you know, I can't hear words, but right kind of music, like I said, that lo-fi girl, that really motivates me, especially when I'm writing urban, like I've been doing a lot of crime, into true crime stuff. It puts me in a mood for that, you know. And then sometimes I can't listen to anything, you know, but I do do that.
I just
Yeah.
love quiet. I like to work. I think hello.
LJ, and it's funny, he mentions he said the book that stopped time for him was The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Do you know I am just reading that again for the first time in years, and I'm reading it right now. I'm almost to the end. But yeah, that book.
What's the name of it again?
The
I'm taking
Spook,
notes.
The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Oh
Who
my
Sat-
gosh, you gotta read it. It's so amazing, and they made it into a movie. I never saw the movie either, but the book is just, it's a classic. And I've read so many, you know, and so many different styles. I like mystery. I like, Walter Mosley, love him.
Yeah.
I love
He's great.
Stephen King, like you said, James Patterson, Toni Morrison.
I like
God,
Omar Tyree as well. You ever read his
yes,
book?
Ain't he
yes,
from Philly? Yeah.
yes, and
Yes,
even,
he's from Philly.
mhm, even,
Yeah, my mom, she loves to read. So I like growing up, I used to just watch her read, and she'd have like a bookshelf, and there's just tons of books. And of course, out of boredom in the summer, I picked up one of Omar Tyree books that she had. And that was probably like one of the books I was like, wow, this is really good. I was like, reading could actually be fun. Like because it's like it's different when like in school they force you to read stuff, and it's like the stuff they force you to read, it's like, this is kind of boring. But then it's
you know,
like when
they've
you pick up
changed that. They've changed that. They had to change it because
Mhm.
kids are so far away from reading these days. So they
Yeah.
had to like give the children choices. So
Mhm.
instead of just saying everybody, I mean, sometimes you do, everybody does have to read Romeo and Juliet. But most of the time when they have to do novels, they'll give them options.
Mhm.
Say, you know, a whole list of different genre book, because everybody has different tastes. You know,
Yeah.
some kids love graphic novels, which are very beautifully written, oftentimes. Um, so that everybody has a different style. I remember my daughter being very happy about the fact that she got to choose which books
Mhm.
that she read. But so many are made. I can read books that I can't watch in movie form because they're so hard to read, you know, like
Okay.
Beloved.
Yeah.
Beloved, my God, it that book blew my freaking mind. It was but it took me 3 or 4 chapters to get into it because in the beginning it was so weird. I didn't understand what was going on.
Mhm.
But once I pushed myself through, oh my gosh, one of the best reads ever. Alice Walker. There's just so many phenomenal. How can I not mention Olivia Butler? Uh, Sci-fi writer, one of the best ever. And they are finally, they did the book she wrote called Kindred, which is the first one
Yeah.
I read by her. Phenomenal book. And they finally made it into a movie. I'm so excited.
My thing about books turned to movies, I feel like the movies don't really be as good as the books. Like they're like the book could be like the book could be great. But then it's like when they turn into a movie, it don't really like for me, some of the movies don't really hit the same.
I don't know. I told Omar McClinton on the IG Live the other day. I said there's a book, a secret book that I have that I want to be a movie. I don't know where to go with it, but it's I've had it since I was a kid. I wanted to make this into a movie since I was a kid, but it can't be independent. It would have to be big budget because it's more of a hey, you need some real special effects. You need more things to go with it. So I couldn't just say, hey, let's do this on the independent level and get it done. So this book is like my dream book to be made into a movie. And I don't tell people about the book because I don't want nobody to know go do it. So
Right.
but it is 100%. When I was a kid, well, I always thought in movie form anyway. But when I was a kid, I was like, this movie. And I know you're saying they won't do it justice, but the goal is to do it justice. I want to visually see on screen the way, because I wasn't a reader either. I was not a reader. And my mom said, you gotta read, just read something. And she gave me this one humongous book. And I fell in love with the book. And I was like, this is a movie. Even as a kid, this is a movie. This is my movie. This is one I want. But I don't know where to go now. I don't know what to do with it. But you gotta sit until you figure it out. Because somebody will take your idea, just like we see in life.
Yeah.
Someone take your idea and you won't be able to. You said what?
I think I've only seen one movie that I thought was better than the book, and that's the Witches of Eastwick. I know you're like, huh? You read that? Yes, I read that, and it was a phenomenal. It was a phenomenal book. But oh my gosh, the movie, the movie was okay, but it just couldn't come close. It was nowhere near as good. I'm sorry. Switch that around. The book was terrible compared to the movie. The movie was way better than the book. And I have written screenplays based on books before. It's hard. It's very, very difficult to do because in a book, you are in their mind's eye of whoever it's about, or if it's an omnipresent book, you get everybody's thoughts and every little detail. And you don't want a movie, depending on what the movie, if it's an epic film or what, you don't want it too long. You can't, usually 90 pages at most. And to take this massive book and put it into movie format is very difficult. It's too much, especially if it's got a large fan base, because everybody's got their favorite part of a book. Everybody wants to see this happen. Everybody sees the characters this way. LJ mentioned an Interview with a Vampire. That's a move. That was a book, one of my favorite books. I read all Anne Rice, though, except for her porn. I'm not into that, but all the rest of the stuff, everything else she wrote, I read. And almost every time they take a book that big and try to make it into a movie, it doesn't work. And it did not work with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. That did not work. But now that they're using the series format, totally different story. And they've updated it some, and they've brought in color, because the way she originally wrote it, everybody was white, which is just not realistic. It's in New Orleans, right? This new version of it is, Lewis is the main character and he's Black now, you know what I mean? And one of the other characters is Black now. And because it's a series format, they can get all those details.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think another thing with me, it was as far as books turn into movies. In books, it's like I could use my own imagination. Like I'm in the book, I'm like immersed into it, and like in my mind, I'm picturing the scenes. I'm creating the characters in my head, the way things look. And then it's like, but when I'm watching the movie, it's like here they're just showing me everything, instead of me using my imagination. I'm not using my imagination anymore. So. But
everybody's idea of, say, an Interview with a Vampire, what Lewis looks like is going to be different. When I read it, I did see a mulatto man, an Octoroon man playing that part. I saw that because that's my vision of New Orleans, not everybody being white. How the hell is everybody white? And I mean, they did that movie maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
It was 15 years ago, of course. You know, it didn't say Lewis was black or anybody was black, but they ain't gone. It's fantasy. It's all made up. So why can't you make it realistic? You
Yeah.
know, explain adaptation regarding a book to a movie. Well, that's a lot to explain. That's a whole lot. Let's just say it's difficult. It's like you have, if you're working with an estate of the person who wrote the book, or if it's autobiographical, you have to go through them to make sure that whatever part of the story you put in the screenplay is acceptable to them. Or if you just buy the rights to do it, then it's up to you. But then you gotta, if it's a well-known book, you gotta make sure that the audiences of that book are going to be supporting what you're writing. But then at the same time, you'll be creative. So it's not easy. It's never going to be the same. A book is never going to match the movie because it's just not enough time, you know. And LJ said waiting to excel, the book was very different than the movie. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh shoot, yeah. Yeah, both good though. I actually loved the movie and I loved the book, even though they were different. And that happens. That happens sometimes too.
It's just title and the kind of copying it basically and just doing their own thing. But
Yeah, and or like when they like there was this movie called Cold Mountain. I think that's what it was called. And the way the book was written, one of the main characters was a Black woman, and it made sense. It was that time, it's like turn of the century timing, whatever. The movie was a huge success, won a lot of Academy Awards, and Renee Zellweger played that Black woman. Yes, and won an Academy Award for that role.
what?
That I was so freaking mad. I was so mad because it was like one of the most beautifully written characters for a Black woman.
Mm.
And I was a fan of Renee Zellweger until that. I was like, you took that. I think that's irresponsible. I think it's irresponsible for
Wow.
for them to do that, and they're still freaking doing that. I mean, so many characters, honestly, so many characters that have been whitewashed and made to look like for instance, the Lone Ranger. We're just now learning the Lone Ranger was based on a Black man.
Really?
They did that whole, y'all knew that, right?
I don't
No?
remember.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that character is based on a man named Bass Reeves. He was a U.S. Marshal in Indian territories. He typically, not always, but sometimes rode with a native assistant who was also a marshal. And there were many in that area. They had to have people that the people could communicate with. And people in the Old West were very mixed up. There was a lot of Black people, a lot of Hispanic, a lot of natives, and a lot of white, all mixed in together. And they were all poor, all trying to make that money. And there was a lot of crime, and Bass Reeves was the Lone Ranger. He wore a mask, and they took that man's life and they made it into this white thing. And that's what they've done with so many different important historical characters. They've made them white. And yeah, pirates are real sexy now, but pirates are not cool. And most of them are African. For a long time, the Somalis were pirates, and they still are some. Of course, there's different pirates from different places, but they glamorized it and made it Hollywood and made them all white when they weren't. So.
Wow, you just dropped some knowledge on the mic drop. She dropped that knowledge on it. You ain't know about the Lone Ranger. No, I know. That reason crossed my mind.
It's so
Oh,
many
so why
stories.
can't they do a black version now of the Lone Ranger? Bring it back.
They should. They've been talking about it. There's been different scripts written. I actually was possibly going to write one. I've been reading up on him, but there's so many people trying to do it that the guy that I write for was like, I think somebody else going to get this done quicker, because there's a lot of big names that are trying to finally get this done. I mean, they did that as recently as what's his name? Johnny Depp played Tonto. Remember? That wasn't that long ago that they did this.
Yeah.
And they knew by then that Lone Ranger was a black man. They knew it.
But they're gonna have
The
Idris
general
Elba
public.
playing Lone Ranger.
Was that?
No, I said they're gonna have Idris Elba playing the Lone Ranger.
Well, he's been playing all those characters, so why not?
I know.
He might turn
That's
it
the
down
other
like
thing. I would love to see some Black Americans playing some of these Black American characters. You know, no hate. I love Idris Elba. He's a beautifully talented man, but why does he get to play all the Black American roles when we got so many Black American actors that could do it, that are really good actors, you know?
he
Because
just the
it's about
go-to, isn't he?
I really love The Harder They Fall. Like when that movie,
I
when
did
that show
too.
came, when that came out, when that movie came out, I literally probably watched that like 100 times. Like I'll be
Wow.
up in the middle of the night writing, and I would just have it on. Like I watched it so much I could just watch it on mute. And
I just watched it again the other day. Have you seen it, Shelley? Oh my God, you gotta see it. It's on Netflix.
It's really good.
So good. They took this storyline of this time, around the same time, Lone Ranger time, and showed Black cowboys opposing each other, and the violence and the money grabs and the greed and all that kind of stuff that happened. But they were Black. But they brought in like the music of the day. Jay-Z did the music of the day, and incorporated more common language of the day instead of talking the way people talked back then, which was very different. I mean, I've written a period piece for that time. People did not curse the way we do now. They didn't use the same words. It was actually quite funny the way people cursed back in those days. But they brought it current, and they made it, you know, some of the best Black actors in the business were in that movie. They were freaking awesome.
I love the cinematography of it, and I love like the mixture of colors, the way they had, especially like this one scene where it's like an all white town, and all the buildings are all painted white, and I really love that. It's just like different things like that, and then the blue lady, who was dancing in the saloon, like it's just different elements like those.
We're running low on time, but LJ wanted to ask one question. He said, explain the Black British thing and why Black American actors are mad. In short, you know, they use Black British actors mainly for one reason. No, a couple reasons. One is they're very, very talented and very well-educated actors. They're stage actors. They're really freaking good. That's one reason. And they really care about the product. They care about the work. The other thing is they're cheaper, way cheaper than American actors, because they're not SAG, not Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA, so they don't have to pay them the same way that they pay us. So it takes work away from us. But my thing is, you know, that education side, the skill side, you know, there's a lot of us that need to study, you know, so you can compete, you know, be that good. And because they're that good. Not everybody's that good, but the ones that are working are freaking awesome actors because they've worked at it, they've studied to be that way. But that money part is a big part of it too. Regina King is doing her thing, and Regina was in The Harder They Fall. She was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we got 2 minutes. So Helen, please tell everybody how they can get your book and support you.
You can find my book on Amazon. It's titled A Lover's Truce. You can type in my name, type in the title, and you should be able to find it. You can find me on Instagram, Locks and Brews, Locks, LOCS _AND _Brews, BREW. BREWS. Like originally my Instagram was just me taking pictures of beers because I love craft beers. And so that's what I was originally using it for. Like I really wasn't using it at all. And so I had locks, I have locks, and I love brews. So that's how I ended up being that. But
I like that,
find me
lock
on
and
there.
brews. That's cool. Cool.
But it's a lot of pressure because I be wanting to cut my hair sometimes. I get to a point where I just want to cut it. But it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's how, yeah. Shelly, you got something going on?
What do I have going on? 30 interviews in 30 days. It continues. Today was day 10 and thus forth going forth. Then November 26th, 1 p.m. is the new location for Single on a Saturday night at Miller's Ale House on Columbus Boulevard. November 26th, 1 o'clock. Just follow me on Instagram at Shelly Shell.
All right. All right. And thank you everyone that listened in today. I'm excited to have LJ Reynolds, who has been commenting today, coming on the show. He'll be on my podcast this week. You can, the PPC podcast with yours truly, featuring LJ Reynolds, and he's coming on, and he is the curator for Unsung Hollywood. So he's got a lot of freaking information. He's a brilliant mind and a funny person at that. I look forward
And
to
he could
having
talk. He said he could talk, and he's gonna be talking.
He can
Come
talk.
on now. Let's talk.
Yeah, and so please check out the podcast, because like James, James Patterson knows, he listens to, but it's very different from one to the other. So please listen to the podcast and then join us again next week on the PPC radio show. God bless you all. Thank you all for coming. Until next time.
Thank you for having me.